he's so mischievous and he's always so sneaky and doing things he shouldn't be doing. I was like, I have to make sure that you're not lying to me.
Yeah.
You lie so much that I have to like, you know what? I'm gonna catch you. I don't even know. I no longer know when he's being honest.
Which is a bad thing, because now
You don't want to do that
cry
because
wolf
then,
shit.
Exactly.
Welcome to the Let's Excel Show, a platform for our people where we strive to excel. I'm your host, Excel Lopez, and I'm here with my homegirl, very special guest, Yayi herself.
Hello.
Yo, what's going on? Yo, thank you for coming through.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yo, absolutely. You're dope as shit. You know your shit. And you're good at shit. Oh, yes. There you go. Yo, cheers for pulling up.
Cheers. Oh,
cheers.
Lord.
Thank you. So talk to me. How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm great, actually.
Right.
Real good.
Yo, that Cinco didn't catch up to you.
No, it did, but it's okay. I have to mask it.
Yo, you did good. You did good. You manifest a good look for today.
Yes.
There you go. You said you was gonna do it, and you made it happen.
I did.
Yo, applause. Yo, man. So let the people know where you from.
Well, ethnicity-wise, or
You could go both. Go
I'm a
both.
Dominican-American from New York City.
Oh,
Born and raised.
Nice.
Yeah, I have background of the Caribbean in me. Well, everybody.
Like all of us out here, right?
But yeah, a typical Dominican girl, regular schmegular.
That's what's up. Typical Dominican guy. Yeah.
We need the flag here.
We have it here. It's on my side over there.
Wow.
You know, because we don't know who's gonna be there.
Okay, you're right.
There you go. Right. So then I'll carry the on my back. We need to do something. We got to make it better. We have to make it better.
Start carrying a flag in my bag.
Oh, I see. Oh no, put it in a keychain. I see the simple.
Yeah.
She said, we'll think about that one. Nah, man. So like, let's talk more about your childhood. Like how like come about, like what's going on.
I had a very good childhood, actually. Everybody has their traumas. They go through things that bother them.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to my parents, I can't complain. I feel like they let me be myself to a certain extent. Like, all right, don't push it. I'm going to let you go, but don't push it because I'm going to bring you right back in. Kind of like a fish. Yeah, I'm a Cancer, so yeah, crab, there you go.
Yeah.
I would go sideways and they'll be like, turn around.
Echa pa acá, coño, with the pincer too.
Yes.
Damn.
I was good. I wasn't a bad kid. I did good in school. Went to college, dropped out because I didn't like what I was studying. And then I went back because my sister put me on to history, an actual major that I enjoyed. And then I was like, all right, let's go. Finished, got my BA, went straight into my master's, and now I'm here.
Yo, congratulations, yo. Round of applause.
Yes, it was great.
Yeah, I remember that, like, you in your robe. I was like, yo, congratulations. I was like, hold on, because it confused me for a second. I was like, wait up, did you, like, just get your degree?
I did. It was kind of
said my
like...
double degree.
I did. I had to. Mostly also because my grandmother, that was something that she always wanted for us to do, to pursue our education. And to her, it was like, once you become a professional, that's it. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know what? I understand where you're coming from. You're right. It does look nice having that, like the fact that I was able to technically give it to the man.
No, yo, not only that, it's not like, fuck all that. It's that you applied yourself and did something great for yourself.
I did.
You know? Because it's like sometimes you get that little nudge from the family. But the nudge is like, they don't understand what's your nudge, though.
No, I think they do, which is why they did it. Because my thing is, what elevates me or what pushes me is family. Like, you know what? I want you guys to see that I'm doing good. No. I want you guys to be comfortable. So I think that is where that lies. Like, I did it for myself, but I really did it for them. Like, the fact that they were so happy. Like, oh, yes, you know. And for my parents to see that, like, you know what? You guys didn't go through the struggle of coming here for nothing. Like,
yeah.
I'm going to give you guys at least a little happiness in all the nasty stuff I do.
And you know what you did? You did that. You
did.
Gave them that happiness. You gave them that joy.
I mean, yeah.
Nah, that's, and I'm sure like that joy gets reciprocated for you as well, because like you talked about history and you're an educator. So there you go. Like, do you explain that to me? Like, first, like again, getting into teaching. Like, who inspired to get you into teaching?
It was very random, actually. And I still do. I want to do research. I want to be a researcher. I want to work for museums, going on trips, just learning new history, new stories, right? Because everyone has a different perspective on history itself. But there's also something that's always hidden. And every time you start digging and you start looking, there's always something new that pops up and you're like, wait a minute, this was missing in that. For example, history of the United States itself. Mm-hmm. There's so much things that haven't been uncovered and there's so many lies that keep being told. And it's like, to what point are we going to actually just stop and be honest? Uh-huh. It wasn't that someone discovered it, is that they invaded and it came about and that it is what it is, the survival of the fittest. Yeah. That's what they did. They knew that they were already immune to their diseases. They knew how to use their weapons and they knew how to use people who are naive and manipulate them to the point of getting what they want. And now we're here. Something is like, it's a good thing it happened because a lot of us are now a lot more inclusive. We're more open to other races and cultures. However, colonizers wiped out a whole group of people who were native to their land, who were actually cultivating the land to be better. Yeah. We kind of just, we going through that whole industrial revolution. We messed up ourselves and now we're technically becoming extinct.
In what aspect? We as in who? As in humanity?
Humans. Yes, itself. Yo. We don't do things to help ourselves. The fact that we're still, we know what's healthy and what's not, and we continue to go on. Even though we adapt to the different things that come about, it's still not in a positive way. Mm-hmm. Because if we're going to be honest, who knows how long natives back then were actually living before colonizer came about. And if we're talking about people who were being healthy, who lived off the land the way we're supposed to,
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, because you're saying there's no processed crap. There's none of this other stuff. It's just you with nature, and nature gives you gifts, and then you consume, and then you, right. And then,
The problem is, that's what it is. That's why I think that I got there. It was like, okay, I want to do this. I want to do research. I feel like there's a lot of things missing, and I feel like it's not fair that we have students who actually want to learn, who keep getting this fake backstory on how the United States was created. Mm. Stop glorifying Christopher Columbus. Stop. We already know the truth. You know what? And especially people who get to college and they actually do the reading, they're like, oh, wait a minute.
What's going on?
So it's like, why do we continue? Why are we doing that to kids? Because then that's technically an educational trauma. Because now it's like, wait a minute. So everything I learned was a lie? Let's start from the beginning. They can handle it. I've seen my students handle those conversations.
I see what you mean, because now we live in an era of misinformation, so people don't know where are we going or where we coming when it comes to voter fraud or all sorts of other type of things.
Even racism itself, it's racism. We never know what even though we try not to be, there are times that we ourselves, I have times that I am racist with people who I don't need to be. Mm. And it's unfortunate. It's embedded. So it's like, how do I regress? How do I change that?
Take that step back so that you can move forward. What kind of things are those things that you feel cause those triggers? You think that you're like, oh, wait up.
It's the privilege. Mm. Who gets to get what? And why do they get that? What are they doing? Everybody's different and everybody works in different manners. But you can't sit here and tell me that just because one person decided to do a paper, the other one decided to do a slideshow, that they didn't put in the same amount of effort. So why did the person who does a paper gets to be glorified when the person doing a slideshow also, they did their work? It's just that I feel like that disparity there is.
I think with the conformity of how to do work, right? Yes.
I see. Dictates who actually knows, who's knowledgeable. Because
not only that, it's also kids learn differently. Maybe the slideshow might pop things out for a kid more than it is just a regular paper. Somebody just reading a paper out loud to some people.
And I'm speaking for myself too. I'm the type of person, if I read something I learn from you showing me. I'm a hands-on type of person. So yes, I could read a paper and all right, I got this information from it. But when I see someone actually presenting it to me, it's like, okay, there we go. That makes sense. Now I can work with that. And I think that was why I ended up as a teacher, because I had a professor my seminar professor. It was my thesis. She allowed me to. She gave us different options. How do you want to do your paper? Do you want to do a regular 12-page paper? Do you want to do a syllabus? Do you want to do lesson plans? It's up to you how you want to go about it. And everybody took different routes. And I ended up doing a lesson plan. Like, let me try it for 10th grade. And it was a sustainability on Haiti. And I built out the lesson plan. It was my rough draft, first draft. Handed it in. She goes, "Oh, who did you speak to?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, who did I speak to? This is my stuff." She goes, "You did this by yourself?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, you kind of gut yourself into that position as a student. Like, what do I want to see in a lesson plan? What is going to call my attention? And I know it gets boring when you're constantly sitting in a class. It's just lecture, lecture, lecture. No, kids want to do things, different activities. They want to get hands-on. Give me something that's going to entertain me, that's going to pull me in for me to want to learn. And from there, she's like, "Oh, this looks like you worked with somebody who works in education." I was like, "No, but if I get somebody to work with me, that's great." And she put me on to the head of the Department of Education in CUNY. And she reviewed it, and she was like, "You sure you don't want to be a teacher? You don't want to come into education?" And I'm like,
she was like, no. She said, "You got a little gift right here. You know some shit here."
And she was like, "This is really great." So like, she was like, she molded it like, "Okay, you just need to change this a little bit, add this, and you're good to go." And I was like, "Okay." And then I got an email from the charter school from Success.
Okay.
They're like, "Oh, we're looking for people." And I'm like, "You know what? Let me try it. Let's see." And I went for it, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, you're going into history 8th grade. You're perfect." I was like, "Oh, great." And now we're here.
Nah, that's what's up. That's dope, because I'm one that I notice that people learn differently. And you coming with a thought process like that, it kind of geeks me up, because it shows that you're flexible with your lesson plans. You're flexible with your methods, that everything's not cookie cutter. So what kind of things do you do to make sure that kids learn and retain the knowledge that you're trying to give them? Because that's the part that matters the most, the retention of the stuff.
So where I work, they have curriculum developers, right? They create the curriculum.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Curriculum developers.
Okay, great.
They create the content.
Yes.
However, if I see something isn't going to work, I'll change something, or I'll add an activity. Like if it's just a straight lecture, like, okay, now I'm adding something for them to do. Or we had, me and my other coworker, we had videos, or anything that we know that it relates to the content, and the kids are actually going to be like, all right, let's do this. So in that sense, that I like to do that. Like, I like seeing my kids do activities. Sometimes they have to work together. Like, we have debates. That's something that they add, but we change it up. Like, all right, you know what? This team is going to do that. This team, like, make sure your guys are going to go back and forth. I'm just calling you. I'm going to do a cold call, technically. All right, it's your turn. Go. What do you have? And so they do that back and forth. They enjoy that. They enjoy that,
talking their shit, I'm sure.
Right? We've had activities where they had to go. There's a website that they can go on, and they play different games. So right now I'm teaching economics and civics, which is something I've never studied in college or high school, but they're giving it to them. It's like a surface level type of class. And it's fun, the fact that I'm learning with them this new content. It's like, all right, let's go. So I read whatever the unit is. Okay, give myself a rundown. All right, how does this click? How do we bring it back to U.S. history itself? And then we move from there. And the way the kids retain it, I like the fact that they actually understand that it's important. It's something that we, the fact you're studying economics, what makes the U.S. currency move, and how does it relate to every other country? And civics itself is, how are you a civilian? How do you help yourself within the community? Mm-hmm. What is it? So it's
a lot, right?
It's challenging, but I like that it's a fact that it's like, you know what? It's also challenging me. It's not only the kids. So we're both learning, because they say things and I'm like, wait a minute, I never thought about that. Why does that work then? And the fact that they start getting their motors running, then they start like pinpointing off each other like, but wait, I don't agree with that, and it's like, good, let's go, bring it.
Talk about it. Now that's dope, because if you're teaching them how money moves and how people move, like
like economic indicators and
stuff
like that,
and cognitive behaviors and stuff, that kind of stuff is it'll kind of spark them whenever they go into a store or whatever kind of things are making them want to make those decisions that they're doing, that they're processing.
And don't get me wrong, some of them like they just laugh, and I'm like, this is not funny, because when you become an adult, you're gonna be like, crap, that bothered me, that actually affects me. I was like, there are times like you guys don't notice it. One thing that has me upset is, and I know we need it, but it's a little too much, like those bike lanes.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to, like, stop putting these bike lanes on streets that you know are heavily packed. Don't do that. Because now you're taking a parking space, you're making the streets more narrow. Now there's really causing traffic. Like,
it's hazardous. Fuck all that.
The bus lanes too. Like, no cars can go through this street during this time. Only buses. I'm like, okay, it makes sense. But don't do it throughout the whole day. Do it during rush hour. Right? Because we know there are people who need to get to work and they use public transportation. So let's do it from, let's say, 5:30 a.m. until 8 a.m. That's it. After that, you need to open those lanes because people need to get through.
Yo, man, they keep holding us back. They keep holding us back. One step forward, two steps back.
And the kids laugh about that when I'm mentioning it. I'm like, but does it not bother you? And they're like, actually, yeah, it is annoying. I'm like, hello,
get your rant out.
Late. You get here late. You get late to class. You get detention. Like,
this matters. It
affects you. When they're like, oh, we never thought about it like that. I was like, yeah, it's not on your parents.
Yeah.
You guys.
Just like with work and whatnot. It's like you try to teach them. That's why you try to teach everything baby steps. You try to let them know lateness matters, because that fucks you up at work, because then you won't have work. And then
you're backed up with your work now, because let's say those 15 minutes, in those 15 minutes, some paperwork could have been done. Mm-hmm. In those 15 minutes, I look over the lesson plan, like, okay, that's for today, right? This is what we're doing. I'm like, okay, I need to make sure that I hit on this. And I'm like, they get upset, but it's important. We need to be mindful.
Yeah.
And I think that these topics are great when it comes to students. Like, let's give them the real stuff.
No, sure, for sure. These students, though, because I see they get you tight because you're out here rolling your eyes. Like, have you?
Yeah, okay, no.
Go ahead.
I teach 8th grade, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm talking about the ages of 12
to like 14,
15,
right?
15 okay. Even. So it's like, okay, again, they're all different. I'm talking about different ages. They all learn different. There are some who are more mature than others. There are some who, they're like, ah. It's like, all right, get over it. Cut it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have some that is just like, oh, man, here's something else. There's something. And I've had those, and it's like, you know what, though? At the end of the day, and I tell them constantly, when you guys are here, you guys are my children. And I'm going to make sure that whatever you need, you're getting it. I'm going to keep you safe, whatever the case may be. So when I speak to your parents, those are my kids too. Because they're with me 8 to 9 hours throughout the day. You can't say and tell me that you're not going to develop some form of need to protect them and love them. You're annoying, right? But I do love them. And it's like, I kind of miss them. Where are they? Like whenever I have like one of the ones that I know that I'm constantly going at it with, it's like, where were you? Oh, you missed me? No, I didn't miss you. Yes, you did. And it's like, whatever.
You go.
But it's nice to build those relationships with them. It's just sometimes they like to, I don't know.
Take advantage of it?
Yeah, you know that saying, like, you don't bite the hand that feeds you? I give them a hand, they want to take my whole arm, and it's like, why you got to push it?
Yo, but have you taken the arm back, though? You had something you wanted to say, though.
No,
you had a story. Go ahead. You said you got one back. Go ahead.
I did.
So
I have students.
Get them. Get them.
Who are try to be sneaky. Uh-huh. And then I tell them all the time, like, listen, I went to school too. And yes, everything changes. Every generation is different. But all the little BS you do, I've tried to do it. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten caught. My mom always says, like, when you started walking, I've been started running. Like, stop. And I'm like, it makes sense. And I tell them, I'm like, you're still technically crawling.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm actually now speed walking. I'm not even running yet. So stop it. Like, I'm not that far off. Now, I know I'm around the age of a lot of their parents, too. We have a lot of young parents at my school. So they're like, oh, you could be my mom. And I'm like, yeah. Stop it.
So how be knowing, right?
I had one. So he annoys me, but it's something about him. I'm like, oh, as much as I want you get on my nerves, like I have to be mindful. Like, you've grown on me a little bit. I don't like it, but you've grown on me. And he comes in late. He was running late, but I get a text from his dad, and I'm like, why is his dad texting me? It's so weird. He usually texts my coworker. So I'm like, all right, I will. So when he comes in, he's like, I'm like, all right, take his late pass. And so my coworker was like, my coworker, yeah, his dad texted me. I was like, really? Because he texted me too, and I don't even communicate with his mom. And my coworker was like, yeah, this is the first time dad texts me. And I'm like,
Bueno.
Right, so that already puts something in my head. I'm like, all right.
Bueno.
Fine. So then I hear him, he's like starting to play fight with one of the other kids. And I'm like, doesn't your stomach hurt? Weren't you pooping all morning? What are you doing? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right. So then he said something, but I didn't hear it. But one of the other girls that sits in the front, she's a little mischievous, so she starts dying laughing. And I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm going to figure this out because it's weird. So I asked my I was like, do you have his dad's number? He was like, no, only mom. Mom is usually the one that texts me. I'm like, So I go into the system. I look up dad's phone number. And I was like, all right, the phone number I got the text message from doesn't match the one on the system. I'm like, okay. I was like, maybe dad changed his number because it happens.
Be like that.
But I was like, nah, I'm still not conformed with this. I'm going to keep going. So I text my boss. I was like, hey, you have this person's dad's number. He's like, yeah, why? I was like, can you send it to me? Send it to me. I was like, all right, I got this message from this number. I don't know. He was like, let me call mom just to verify. I was like, please and thank you. Oh, we're quiet. The kids are taking practice tests. So he doesn't even know the kid doesn't even know what's going on. But I was like, oh man, I'm gonna catch you.
You're just stewing, right?
Like, my boss texted me back. He was like, yeah, mom confirmed he lied. Put him in detention. We'll talk to him later. I was like, yes.
Gotcha.
I was like, I knew it. And so then that day, and we didn't tell him until after they were done testing. So then we're like, oh yeah. And then my co was like, you have detention, by the way. He's like, what? Why? He's like, because you lied. That wasn't your dad that texted us.
Damn.
And he's like, what are you talking about? We're like, we called your mom, dude. Just stop. And he goes, all right. And I was like, and he's like, Miss Peña, like, why would you even try with Miss Peña? Out of all the people that you could lie to, why would you try it with me? Miss Peña like digs in to make sure like it's legit stuff. And him, because he's so mischievous and he's always so sneaky and doing things he shouldn't be doing. I was like, I have to make sure that you're not lying to me.
Yeah.
You lie so much that I have to like, you know what? I'm gonna catch you. I don't even know. I no longer know when he's being honest.
Which is a bad thing, because now
you don't
it's that cry wolf shit.
Exactly, because then the day that you're actually sick, I'm like, he's BSing. I don't care, and I feel bad because at times our kids, you do get sick. But it was a good victory.
It was good one day.
Yeah, Michael was like, "How did you catch it?" I was like, "Too much little stuff."
Like demasiado, right? No. You do it too much. So then, speaking of doing too much, with the curriculums or whatnot we were talking about, what do you feel like should be implemented for kids instead of like what's being taught? Like you said, you aren't fond of the history being taught or the... So
I feel like the history that we learned.
That we
in the DOE.
Oh, so speaking of that, there you go. Like, let's just... So the comparison between...
Charter and DOE.
No, our upbringing with very classes, different. Like classwork with now.
Very different.
Very different. Night and day.
2 worlds apart.
No, for the better?
Now?
Yes.
I feel like it's better because I feel like kids are noticing, they're being more aware of what they're actually learning. Yeah, very different.
Very different. And what kind of mindful stuff, what kind of things are they more aware of? Like you spoke about the history.
I like the fact that they notice like when things are wrong. When they look at the news like, oh, did you see this? That's not fair. Like, why are they doing that to us? Or whenever we mention, for example, Black Lives Matter, the whole protest and how it goes about, there are some people who actually do it because they want to see the change. And then there are people who are using it for their benefit. So just go ahead and be obnoxious and have a reason as to why they're doing it.
Yeah.
So, the fact that they know, like, our lives matter. It's true. And I'm like, you are correct. Our lives do matter. And so like sometimes they'll be like a little silly, be like, oh, like when I tell them, stop doing that, sit down, like, I'm going to give you detention. Because I'm black. And I'm like, what am I?
What are we like?
Oh, what are you talking about? And I'm like, stop. I was like, you want to see my mom? My mother's blacker than you. Stop. Like, there's no...
We're not doing that. Yeah, we're not doing that here.
You're right. Okay. And I'm like, oh, my God. But The fact that they know who they do it with too. So like they do that to me because they know they won't do it to a white teacher.
Yeah.
Because I know it's gonna offend the white teacher. They're like, I don't even know how to respond to it. It's they know who they can play around with when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, because it's two different lives right there. So they can't be relatable as much as you are, that you could just joke around.
No, and they know you're from here, you're from New York, you understand, what we go through in New York, which I know like we still have we have racist people here, but it's not as extensive as if you go down south and you actually go into neighborhoods where that zoning, those red lines are located. Mm-hmm. There's a big difference.
Oh, for sure.
So, it happens. But like I like that they know that. That's something that they learned. The zoning. They're like, wait, we still have that? They really still do that? And I'm like, oh. I was like, as much as we want to say that Jim Crow is gone,
still
it's hidden.
Here.
That's very much still here. It's just hidden behind the way they phrase the certain laws and things that we can and can't do.
I hear it. So when it comes to, because, we're from the Bronx and stuff, and we're like from a poor district and whatnot, what kind of resources you wish we would have had back then that it's like, aside from technology, obviously, because that's just like generational stuff.
Yeah.
So what would be, yeah.
I think that having people who actually been through those experiences coming to speak to students like this is how, or who like actual researchers who understood the concept of what we're learning. Like,
yeah.
There are a lot of people who could have came like to have special guests. I think that would have been important. So we understand the actual history. Like, what are we learning? Why is it important?
Oh, for sure.
That is one. I think also doing different activities, like actually going out to, because one thing, we don't go on trips. I don't like that.
Oh my God.
I think kids do need to go on trips, especially to museums, right? Because the way they see, even if it's just an art museum, but the way they see it, how they perceive it is, they're all different. And who knows what type of,
moment you cause for them, right? Like an epiphany for them.
Exactly. What are they saying? Oh, wow, this hit me. I got something from it. What did you get? And I think it's necessary. I think trips are important. Unfortunately, we don't do it enough.
That's why. So we could keep on harping on that because I feel like that's important, and we could flesh that out a little more. And we also want to talk about what was the thing I wanted to say to you? Well, we have other segments to talk about right after this in the Let's Excel show with Yayi. You already know. Yo, what's going on, y'all? If you haven't subscribed to us yet, you're wildin'. If you're listening to us, streaming us, and you still haven't hit follow, you're bugging. Guys, we love you. We appreciate you. All that stuff you do for us, we fuck with you. Thank you. Love, peace. Let's excel. Yo, we're back at the Let's Excel show. Again, I'm your host, Excel Lopez. We're out here with Yayi out here in this next segment.
Should I tell them my last name so they know? Like, if I'm in the streets with kids.
Go ahead.
It's Miss Peña.
Miss Peña, there you go. Keep it like that. Yeah. There you go.
I don't want my kids to be like, Yayi, and then I'm going to be like, oh, man, great.
Damn.
No, I'm going to punch you in the face.
Me or the person?
Kids.
I was like, man, this is how I know you by. Like, don't come at me crazy.
I tell the kids that all the time too. I'm gonna squish you. I say a lot.
Damn, come on, say.
Yeah, and I do that to them. Like,
damn. So are you gonna squish them like that? But you can't squish them like that in field trips. Like the field trips that you can't take them out to. What the hell?
Okay, thanks.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The field trips that we need.
I don't want to. I would love to do field trips. I think that going to historical landmarks, museums, any type of thing that's related to history itself. Yes, it's important. Let's go. And also to the park. I'm not a fan of the park. I hate the park. Anything to do with running, exercising itself, I'm allergic to.
Needs that.
It's important for them to get fresh air too, like once in a while. And they do different activities. Like the other day, on Friday, they did an ice cream truck day. The kids went outside to the backyard and they went up to the ice cream truck and they got whatever ice cream they wanted. Which is nice. Like, I like that you guys are doing incentives like that, but also kids need to get out of the freaking four walls. Like, it's the same setting every day. Like, once in a while, like, all right, let's go. Let's go get our learning brains on. Let's go outside. There's something out there that, even if you're going at a 5 blocks away, there's something there that's historical, that was a part of history. So why not? But
we're in New York. Everything's almost a damn landmark.
it is, because this is the first place that people actually settled in. Like, this is the breeding grounds. But all of the East Coast, it's up here, the Northeast, were breeding grounds for historical landmarks.
Everything, like we mentioned, this is the spot, like Ellis Island, the spot where they took everybody down, notated them that they arrived or whatnot, or allowed in and out, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah, it was depending on how technically it was like, it was
diseases.
technically, they were just saying who was useful, who wasn't. That's what it is. We're here now.
And we all are useful. We're all, you know.
To who?
To whom?
The question.
Depends, right? It depends on skills, or like you said, know-how.
But another thing is, you know what I can say, and I think that's a problem. So right now, a lot of and it's a generational thing. I feel like a lot of baby boomers were more hands-on, and they were a lot more skillful.
Yes.
You know, they literally were a handyman, technically. They were a jack of all trades, right? And now millennials fit in that middle section. Like, we have the Gen X and we have Gen Y, which is millennials. There are things that I'm like, I wish I could do. Like, because my father is a jack of all trades, I'm lucky enough to say, like, you know, there are certain things that I can do on my own. Like, I don't mind going ahead and using a drill. I can use a hammer, whatever the case may be. I can build things. Like, all right, give me the instructions. I'll start building it myself. But there are certain things, like, let's say if I want to install a sink, which I do have a sink at home I need to install, but I can't do that by myself because it's too heavy, number one. I don't want to break a nail.
Those things are fire. I acknowledge them when they are. Like, 18-year relationship right here, right? Talk about it.
But I would like to do that, but I can't, because, again, it's the way we learn, the generations, the way they learn, they're all different. And now they're teaching us to be more about books itself, literature, you know? Be more intellectual when it comes to the way you read. Reading is fundamental. That's the way they taught us, right? So now the skills are going out the window, and it's like, that's not okay either. I feel like it's important for us to have both.
We all do.
And not everybody can do both, and that's okay. But the majority of people can. So let's do that. Like, there should be a woodworking class still in school. They should have a home economics. You should learn how to cook, right? Because at the end of the day, you might end up living alone, the way I do. And now,
your cooking's bad?
No, it's not bad, but I don't do it often enough for me to be like, I got this.
Yeah.
You know, si yo me pongo, yes, I can get it done. I know I can get it done. But because it's not something, and then I know also it's because my parents were so inclined on, like, you need to get an education, worry about school. You make me do those, like, necessities. Because you need to learn how to cook. That's a necessity. How am I supposed to survive?
Yeah.
And, like, still to this day, whenever, like, say I'm cutting something, my mom was like, let me do it for you. And I'm like, get away from me. What's wrong with you? Yo, I'm 30. Like, what are you doing?
Don't you hate the supervisory aspects of that, yo?
No, and I told her that, I was like, mind you, she has shoulder surgery, and I'm like, lady, I'm in my 30s. I'm a teacher. Stop. Like, stop.
Yeah.
I get it. You know, at the end of the day, you're always gonna see us as kids.
But no.
Stop.
That's the funny thing, because they want us to be better than them, smarter than them. You know, they sacrifice for themselves. They sacrifice themselves so that we could be better.
Yes.
You know, and then we are like, you know, we got there, but then they still don't think that we're there. And you're like, lady, what's up?
Exactly it. And I told her, I was like, I'm an educator. Why are you? And I'm like, and yes, everybody, you learn something new every day. I wholeheartedly believe that. You learn something new every day, because there are things that you're like, again, there are things I learned from these kids. You know, I'm like, oh, that's weird you think like that. And we have situations sometimes at work that I'm like, I'm tired. I hate this. Like, I'm sick of them. I need them to leave, whatever. And because you get so frustrated because they don't understand, like, I just want you to prosper. And I tell them all, I was like, the reason why I came in here was because, yes, it was very random. I was never in 100 years would I expect to be a teacher. That was never in my plans. But it's like, you know what? If I can make it here, you guys can get anywhere. Like, let's go. I need more people like us to be a part of this world. Let's make it better.
Because it has to be on us. It has to be on us. And it has to be on people like yourself that puts the battery in their back to like really get somewhere or to know something. Like that's why it was I felt fortunate that you came in here, because I know how you are with your students. Like you said, you make it a family atmosphere, and you make it that it's personal for you.
It is personal.
It's
Whenever
personal.
I see them, like, okay, they have times where they're, like we have afternoon advisories, like study hall. And we usually do 25 minutes. Like, you need to make sure you're doing homework, or you're silent. You could sit with your friends, but you need to be doing homework. Sometimes I let them go to a level 1, which is like a whisper volume, for them to talk while they're doing homework. They can help each other. And then on Fridays, if they're good like all week, I'm like, all right, you guys can chill, And they like to get a little silly. Like, I have one who loves to dance. And so they start like doing little dance moves, and I'm like, okay, and I'll record them and our stuff, because it's funny. Like, you guys are so silly, but I like the fact that they feel comfortable enough to do that. Yeah, I'm like, okay, so then they don't feel like,
like they got to be all tight and wound up.
I give them a comfortable environment, and which is what I want, because then you're learning here, but I also want you to be comfortable to learn. Yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions. And one thing I like that. I'm like, you guys have a question? Go ahead. And they're like, and I'm like, go ahead, talk. There's never no wrong answer. I was like, you can have misconceptions, and we're gonna get to the right one. Like, keep going. Let's, but
especially, I hear that. No, for sure. Do you give them like any chances like to like be creative in the classroom environment?
In what sense?
And because you was talking about for your like final paper, your thesis for college, that they gave you different avenues or different lanes to like come up with.
So when they do group projects, I'm like, you guys need to create a slideshow. Like, let's go. I was like, I don't want to see nothing bare. Like, add pictures, come up with your own, process of how you got there. Why does it work that way? So we try, and then like they actually have a final paper for the semester, for the year, which I was trying to change. I was trying to get it to be the way my professor did it. Like, I was like, can they do like instead of doing a 4-page paper, can they do a 2-page paper, and then they could do a creative design for it? They can do a slideshow, they can do like a zine, any type of creative activity that can encompass what they're trying to tell you in their paper. My mouth was like, no, network wants a 4-page paper. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. So now I was like, all right, not to make this boring, because I don't just want to spring that up on them because they've never written a 4-page paper. What I'll have them do, I'll do it in a sense of a scaffolding. So let's start off with the first part, our intro and first body. What can we bring in there? What are we going to talk about? And make sure that it carries on to the body. Because remember, each paragraph needs to combine with the next one. Like, how do we go into that next category? So like, let's just do that, so that way it's easier for them to get this done and get it out the way. But I don't find that creative enough.
Like, you don't, like, they don't let you like you don't have anything that you could like do like some artsy shit for them.
What I did tell them, what I am going to tell them, like, you can add some pictures.
Like, can they draw their own pictures?
They could do that too. Why not? And a lot of them like to draw. Like, I have a lot of talented kids there who, like, they're very good. They like to draw anime mostly, but they're very good at drawing.
Yeah. Because that's the kind of things that I'm saying. Like, they're artistic in that route. You got to cultivate it. You got to make it work for them so that they could get geeked up, so that they could want to do it. So
I have one who always drawing, and I'm like, first do your homework and then you can draw. When you're done with your homework, then you can draw. I don't care. But do your homework first, so you get that out the way, and then go into your creative process. I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah.
Like, I like the fact that you like to draw. I like seeing it.
But when you get your shit done first, I'm in favor, right? Go on.
What is it? It's work hard, play harder.
Yeah. That's the
it feels good too to have your work done. Like, once your homework is done, you're like, all right, now I could chill. And we have like 45 minutes for them to do at least one of them, right? So let's say they have 4 core classes. If those 4 core classes get homework, get one of them done, because that way you have 3 left when you get home. And the homework we give them, it's so light. It's not even funny.
It's light?
Oh my God.
Damn.
You get it done in like 30 minutes. Like, my homework is, because again, it's not work that makes it. Sometimes I change it up. But they'll have For example, they have to watch like a 3 to 4 minute video and they answer 3 questions, 3 to 5 sentences.
Nah.
We didn't have that back then.
Nope.
No. Videos, no. You're going to read 4 pages. You're going to answer the questions, a paragraph for each question. It's about 4 to 5 questions. That's what I remember doing for history. So I'm like, they're a little more lenient with the kids, which I don't like that much because I'm like, where are you challenging them?
That has to happen because like when things get soft, then things get worse.
They're growing older. They're going to high school. This is homework for me, that's homework for a 5th grader. That's not 8th grade homework. You know, and then you giving them this type of homework, but then you want them to do a whole 4-page paper.
Como, right? Like, how does that make sense?
Then again, I can't challenge that work. Who am I?
Yo, you're Jaji. You're the teacher. You're the educator. The one that gets shit done for them, right? So, like, how do you... Go ahead. Woosa.
Yeah.
So then, what is, like, the joy that you get out of teaching? What?
I like that they come up with new concepts themselves. And they're like, okay, so then they'll apply it. So then later on, like, when we're talking about something else, a different topic, they're like, wait a minute, isn't that why this happens? And I'm like, you're making connections. Good. That's it. As long as I see that you can do it yourself, then I feel like, okay, I'm good. I'm not messing up. Because there are times that I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing my job correctly. You know, and I know I get their attention. That's because I'm loud. Like, all right, let's go. And I try to be animated because it gets boring. I know that. So I try like, all right, come on, let's go. Tell me. And they're like, what's wrong with this lady?
The fuck?
Yeah, they be like, she goes being crazy.
Yeah,
and I'm like, come on, why are you guys dead? Is this a graveyard? No, move.
Keep them on the edge of their seat, though.
Always.
All the time. We need that.
Yes. You know, I love doing I do it all the time. Like, even if like they're learning another class, I'll stand by the door. The door is all glass. Right?
That's mad creepy.
So I just stand there and I look through and I'm like, and I literally do that. I do that. I'm like, and they're like,
what the fuck?
And then when I come in, I'm like, there's a cart for them to charge their Chromebooks. And I'm like, and they're like,
Don't
oh, why are you doing that? And I'm like, because what are y'all doing? Work. I was like, are you sure? So if I come through and I walk around, I'm going to see everybody doing their homework. I'm like, okay. So then I go. So then sometimes I like randomly like, all right, bring me your homework. Let me see what you guys got done. And they're like scrambling through. And I'm like,
get the smartest one up there. She's the one that got shit done.
I make all of them come show me.
Okay.
And I pick the person that I know. I always pick the person I know is talking the most because I'm like, that's the one that has the least work done. Let's go.
Maldito.
But they trick me because they be like, I did it. And I'm like, all right.
Motherfucker. There you go, motherfucker.
But then I'm like, I'm glad that they actually listen to what I tell them. Like, do your homework. I don't care if you're talking, but get your work done. So the fact that they come and be like, see, I did it. I'm like,
you're like, all right.
Yeah.
You got to give them the pound, though. You got to pound. You're like, all right.
I have some who
you got to lock. You got to, there you go.
And I'm
go
like,
ahead.
all right.
There you go.
I was like, okay, goodbye. I was like, you need a hug? And I'm like, no, get away from me.
We don't need that. There you go. Like,
that's another thing. Every time they come, you miss me? You love me? No, I hate you. Get away from me. You can't tell me that. And they get so offended. I'm like, I have one that I always tell them, like, you're my favorite. And they all get super upset. They're like, your favorite? Do you know what he does? How is he your favorite? And I'm like, he don't do anything.
Snitches.
And I'm like, he don't do anything in my class. I was like, all he does is his work. I was like, I don't have to speak to him to sit down, pay attention, stop talking, stop getting yourself distracted. Y'all, on the other hand, you guys are all wild. So now I have an animal farm. We all have, yes, we're all an animal. I even wrote a story. Me and my we did a little story.
Talk about it.
So we're all animals. What did I make myself? I think I was a scarecrow.
Makes sense because you're out here hurting these mofos.
Yeah, I'm just, and they're like, but you're not scary. I was like, am I though? And they're like, no, you're just weird. I was like, no, you guys are weird. I was like, I'm scary because you guys don't like it when I come out the blue. And then I'm like, you're in detention. That's another thing. I don't follow the hierarchy of the way they consequence kids.
You just make it happen, and you're like,
Yeah, they're like, oh, that's a consequence. Like if they're talking and you gave them instruction, they start talking. Oh, you have a consequence. You need to be quiet. I don't do that. It's like, stop talking. Pay attention. They're kids. You can't sit here and no.
Talk crazy. You got to talk their language.
It has to be like, all right, that's it. You're getting on my last nerve. You're doing too much. And they know it. They're like, yeah, you actually don't. I was like, no, I'm going to talk to you. And I shouldn't have to be repeating myself, but it's like at the end of the day, they're kids still. Mm-hmm. Yes, they're growing up, but they're still kids. They're still like trying to at the fields of life. And yeah, they're still maturing. We're talking about crazy hormones, girls and boys.
In New York City. New York City's different. It's not like any other place in this world.
No.
Man, they talk about those challenges when you were younger as a student being in New York.
Again, I don't feel like I had a challenge. I feel like I was good. I was decent. There was nothing crazy. I will tell you though that when I graduated high school with honors, my mom was like, I didn't think you were gonna graduate with honors. I thought you were gonna be like just a regular 70s grade type of chick. And I'm like, thanks.
You were like, hold that though, bang, right? You were like, hold that, I'm different.
Yeah, no, I told her, I was like, I do things when I want to. Like, if I want to push myself, then I'm going to do it. If I'm giving myself a reason, why not?
There you go. The same way you push your students now. You try to put that battery in the back the same way you put it for yourself. Good shit.
I told him, like, listen, as long as your grades are good, I'm not going to bother you. But if I see that you're slipping, yeah, I'm going to be on your back all the time. Did you do your homework? And I'm going to embarrass you. Why didn't you do your homework? Why is your homework not done? Oh, my God, Miss Peña, stop. No, get it done. Get it done. I was like, it doesn't take you longer than 3 hours. It's for your grades. And you want to graduate. I don't want to see any of you out here next year. Because you guys are annoying and I'm done.
Let them know they got to invest in themselves. This is an investment in themselves.
They're not there yet. They know what investments are. They don't understand how that applies to your life socially.
You got to get them to know about it for themselves first.
They only know about it economically.
They can know about it in the other space, the outside space.
I messed up on that.
Nah, it's okay. No, you know now. Yeah. Speaking of which, because like, that actually ties into what me and Steven about to go. Yo, shout out Steve-O. Me and Steve, we're gonna actually talk to some high school students on career day at a high school, and I was like, that was dope. Like it came out of the blue. I thought it was like too like out of nowhere, but I'm gonna accept the challenge. Like I want that stuff like that. Definitely is gonna help me get better, and it's gonna hopefully put something like spark a vision in them. Yeah. What kind of advice would you have for me so I could try to like be more relatable to them or to like hold their attention?
Being honest, like be yourself. Because if kids notice when you're trying to put on an act, like they notice it, and if they catch it, it's gonna go haywire.
Check out.
Oh my God, it's gonna suck. So no, be yourself. Be honest with them. Like, listen, it's not easy. This is what it is. But if you put yourself to it, be creative too. Be animated too, because they get boring. You have a teacher speaking in front of the classroom for an hour each class. That type of lecture gets boring, right? That's why I'm always like, all right, let's go. What are you doing? And it's like, lady, stop being extra. We get it. But it's so that I can make sure that your brain is still running, like you're being kept up. And like a lot of kids are like, oh, I have kids that be like, oh, are you teaching us? And I'm like, no, not today, tomorrow. Oh, and I'm like, what are you getting upset for? Same content. They're like, yeah, but it's the way you act. Like, I'm like, okay. So I get it in that sense. It's like, yes, be animated when you're teaching. Whenever you're gonna give even if it's adults, the fact when you're animated, it gets them wanting to pay attention. Like, okay, what can I get from this? How do I put it on into the universe?
Nah, that's cool because I'm always bringing energy like that, so it makes sense. There's a lot of ways that I kind of want to start, a lot of ways that I kind of want to like go, like which route, because I'm basically talking like I'm one of them as well, because I'm growing in my own space as well. So I felt like that's a way to be relatable with them as well. You can
always start with a poll. Like, oh, how many of you are interested in this? What makes, that's always going to get people to start being engaged. And then you run from there.
What other stuff do you think I should engage them with?
It depends. Like, what are you going to speak on?
Well, I'm gonna talk about basically the same way I'm talking to you in the beginning. Talk about my upbringing, childhood.
But what is for career day? What are you speaking on? The fact that you work at Wall Street, or in the podcast as well, or just one?
Probably both, because it just makes sense. Or just I could talk about that I'm doing a lot of different jobs that doesn't make sense to me. That I'm doing the job that makes sense to me now. So that kind of thing is the thing that kind of like I want them to have that. that they should be able to pursue whatever it is for them.
And we have those options. There's a lot of options. Because back then, there wasn't a lot of fields for you to go into. Mm-hmm. But now, anything, you can make any field. You can actually make your own major now when you're in college.
Oh, wow.
Create a new field. Yeah, I know people who did that when I was going to John Jay.
What was the most interesting one that you've seen?
Somebody had started international customer service, something like that.
Okay.
And I was like, oh.
Some different type of hospitality.
I was like, what is that? But it's dope. You're starting a new path. And who knows how many people would actually want to be interested in that, you know?
For sure.
So I think that is also important. Like there's so many, like letting kids know there's so many things you can do. There's so many endless possibilities for you to thrive in this world.
Yeah. And then you see, like, you don't want them to limit themselves, right?
No, definitely not. Never.
Do you see that? Do you see that with themselves? Like, do you see a lot of the kids like having a lot of self-doubt about a lot of the things and just being self-conscious?
The first time I saw someone actually have self-doubt, I was in 11th grade. And he was Mexican. Mm-hmm. And this was during the time, still immigration was becoming an issue. Was an issue. Like, it's always been an issue, but like it was heavy. And I remember he said, we were talking about colleges and how we want to go, and he was like, no. And he was really smart. This was a smart kid. He was like, well, I can't go to college because I'm Mexican. And everybody looked at him like, what am I? I remember the teacher, and I can't stand that lady. But the way that she spoke to him, it was like very encouraging. Like, she's like, don't ever limit yourself to that. Your background doesn't have nothing to do with your education. You're more than privileged to go. You have the capacity to become, even, run this country with how smart the dude was. Like, hopefully, I hope he did go to college.
I hope so too. I hope you put them in those type of paths too for the kids, that you keep them that motivated as well.
I always tell them, I was like, and I'm going to be honest. I was like, all right, college isn't for everybody, but you don't know that until you try it.
For sure.
So don't say yourself like, I don't go to college, it's not for me. No, try it first. Look for something that you like, to see if the way that it gets to you to where you want to be is right for you. Then if you don't like it, then fine. Find another way, be an entrepreneur. Yeah. Whatever it is.
That's another topic I wanted to touch upon in that presentation, because there's multiple ways of how you control your journey. Because if you want to go to school or college right after going out of high school, that's okay. If you want to take some time off too, that's okay. If you don't want to, I wouldn't say that's okay, but it's your prerogative. But I wish you learned something different, though. You're still trying to or work. Like I'm saying, you could work as well or travel just to expand your mind and stuff.
And the problem is, too, when you start working, some people don't want to go back to school, because then it's like, I'm already making money. But I feel like people don't understand. It's not even about the degree. It's about expanding your how intellectual you can be as a person. Where is your knowledge going? How are you applying it at work? I feel like when you go to school, especially as an adult, you have a different mentality than when you did as a kid. Because as a kid, you're just retaining things and, all right, this is what it is what you want, here you go. It's documentation for the system.
For sure.
To see how it works, but.
Nah, that's true shit. Because same way with me, I was like, okay, that's what you needed for class. Got you. I got you my grade. There you go. Thanks for the A. Peace. Bang. Retention gone. Mm-hmm. So, as a teacher, you be knowing shit.
Right.
Yo, Yayi, it's been a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
If you want to say anything for the culture out there,
just be you. Be you and embrace your knowledge. Embrace anything that you're learning. I feel like learning is the best way.
Yeah, that's it. Don't stop learning, right?
Don't at all.
You don't know it all, motherfuckers.
No cursing.
I apologize. Yo, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Again, one more time. Yo, thank you for watching, y'all. It's been a pleasure having y'all here with us in the room, in the studio. Yo, like, comment, share, subscribe. Please, one of those three things. Something. We need that. But guys, appreciate you guys. Take care. Let's excel.